Welcome back, guys. Automotive Inc. here. If you are new to the channel, please smash the subscribe button for me. Give me a thumbs up at the end of the video. So today I had an interesting opportunity. I got a phone call from my brother-in-law who said that his buddy had just bought a brand new Ram 1500 with the Hemi, and everything was going good till they came out to the truck and the truck would not start. So initially they tried jumping it, and the engine would crank and crank and crank and nothing. So then they brought over a bigger vehicle to jump, and it would crank and crank and crank. Now initially when they got in and hit the ignition button, not a lot would happen. They had to push it again, and then because it's a push button, the Ram now has the push button, it would just kind of turn and turn and turn and turn and turn and turn. Now back in the day, when I was younger, my 63 Chevy pickup, this is the simplest way to put it. You needed air, you needed fire, you needed fuel. That's it, okay? So if it was firing, if you could see that spark on the points, then you had your fire. Air was pretty much self-explanatory because there's just an air can sitting on top of the carb. And then you needed fuel delivery. So back in those days, it was all mechanical. It was simpler in the fact of trying to figure it out. Fast forward to today, we have tons of different computers inside those vehicles telling us how the truck's going to run, when it's sick, when it's feeling good, and everything like that. But I kind of attribute newer vehicles to very similar to your smartphone or your computer. How many times does your phone freeze up, your computer freeze up, and what do? You reboot it, right? I mean, so in this instance, they're not near a shop, and yes, it could have been towed in, but I think a lot of people don't want that to happen. If they could get it back to the dealer by driving it, they'd feel much better. I agree with that. It is disheartening to say the least. Now, Chevy, Ram, Ford, they're all going to potentially be able to use this fix, so this won't be Ram specific necessarily, but in this instance, this is what I told them. So we reboot our computer and it seems to work fine. We reboot our phone and it seems to be working fine. Now, with the new cars, you have body control modules and control modules, so on and so forth. So in this instance, they basically put it on speakerphone. I heard it turn over. It's turning over. It sounded like a strong battery, a strong start to that. In that instance, again, air is very, it could be a sensor in the intake system, but highly doubtful. And usually, fuel is now injected. There are no more points. There's really no way to check for spark per se. You can check your fuse box. But down below, I'm going to put a link in there with some roadside assistance crap that I bought for my kiddos at some point, given away as presents to other people that are becoming new drivers, people that are seasoned drivers that didn't have this stuff. And here's what I'll suggest, guys. No matter where you go to get it or not, they're like these small suitcase things. Let me grab this thing. So I bought one of these kits for all of my boys. I've given away to other young people starting to drive as gifts. And what those are is those kits basically have an emergency set of jumper cables. A lot of times they have emergency blankets, sometimes first aid kits, sometimes tire plugs. I carry a small air compressor in my pickup that will basically kind of inflate a tire, over time, as long as the hole's not too big. And I do carry plugs. Now, again, these are just going to be things to get you going, but the links will be down below. And I will suggest this too. Anybody driving a car, you need to have a 10mm wrench, okay? And the reason being is because most of the stuff on your newer vehicles is going to be using a metric size socket or wrench. Well, if you just buy this small kit, it'll get you out of several different little pinches that you can be in. In addition to those kits, they all have a tow rope, and the one I'm going to suggest also has a foldable military shovel, which if you get stuck in the mud, sand, snow, and other BS, especially in winter months and in the cold states, it could be a lifesaver because somebody might stop to help you, but they don't have an actual tow rope. This is going to help you potentially get out of that. So yeah, check out those links below. Back to what we did, guys. I basically told them, I said, well, it's turning over. We don't know if the fuses are bad. I wasn't there. I'm assuming that they checked them, but you can always check those. But my suggestion was take a 10mm and take the positive cable off your battery. If it has two batteries, take both off. And then you're going to need to get inside the vehicle, and you're going to need to be able to turn on just the headlights. What that's going to do is it's going to drain all the residual power left in the actual system. There is always a little bit left. That body control module, that ECM is trying to hold on to its knowledge. And so what they did is they disconnected that, turned on the lights, turned it off, put the battery cable back on, tightened it down, truck fires up. Okay, now it kind of rebooted it for a second. It rebooted the brain and the issue that they were having. Now, is this going to fix the underlying issue? I highly doubt it, but it may be the difference between you being stuck on the side of the road and or waiting for roadside assistance, stuck in a blizzard, just stuck in an unexciting situation where you just want to get the truck home or get it to the dealer, and it may prevent a tow. So again, what they did was they found a 10mm socket, wrench, whatnot, took off that battery cable, drained the residual power by turning on the lights for a second, shutting that off, going back in, tighten the terminal down, truck fires up. After that, guys, make sure that you do go find out what the underlying issue is. But in a lot of circumstances, these vehicles are just a rolling computer, and this may help. Because again, if the engine's turning over that chugga, if you just push the button and nothing's happened, it could be a starter. If it's an older vehicle, it could be a fuel pump. If it's a newer vehicle, the possibility's there. The probability is low that your fuel system's already fragged, but it is a potential. Now, this should work on diesels, gassers, everything like that. And it worked on a 23 Ram 1500. So I tried Googling it. There was really nothing out there while I was trying to help them diagnose it over there, just trying to talk to them. Everybody said it's got to be your fuel pump. It's got to be your dead battery. Replace this. Again, I could hear over the phone that the truck was turning over just fine. So there was just something along the lines of that. Now, if you guys don't mind, like I said, subscribe down below. And anytime we come up with this, if it's a help to one person, which in this instance it was, I'm going to make a video on it because there's going to be at least another person and then potentially another person. All right, guys, Automotive Inc. We'll see you on the next one.